Hey there, welcome to From Stuck to Scaling, your $1 million journey. I am your host, Sharrin Fuller, entrepreneur, business strategist, and someone who's all about building something that actually means something in the long run. Today, we're going to talk about building a business that lasts beyond you. It's easy to get caught up in growth, numbers, and the daily grind, but at the end of the day, what kind of legacy are you leaving? My guest today is Nancy McClelland. Did I say it right?
You sure did.
McClelland.
McClelland.
The reason I never say, I know how your last name is, but I never say it right because you are the dancing accountant. And yes, that's right, you guys. You heard that, the dancing accountant. She is not just a CPA. She's someone who has made a name for herself by doing things her way and helping business owners align their values, passions, and business to create something with real impact. So she is a perfect guest for today. And so we're going to talk about how to build a business that doesn't just pay the bills, but actually means something to you, your team, and your clients. And as always, if you've got questions, send them my way. Even if we don't cover them in the show, I'll make sure you get your answers. So let's get into it. So Nancy, you're one of my favorite people. I remember the first time I have never been like, I didn't go to a lot of the conferences for a long time. I think I just came into the conference scene a few years ago. I remember going, who is this lady in all the bright dresses and tutus and flipping around? And I'm like, she just does whatever she wants. I love it.
Thank you. That is such a beautiful, kind, wonderful thing to say. And as a matter of fact, I think if I wanted to give anybody a first impression, that would be like nailed it. That's exactly what I would want you to take away from having met me. It's kind of funny that I'm wearing black and white, plain
Yeah,
clothing
yeah.
here today. So
Well, she was incognito
got my
today.
artwork.
She did to outshine me right now is all I'm thinking because otherwise Nancy walks in a room and it's you've always got to like I was just laughing at your post the other day where you're wearing the pinata costume. I'm like only Nancy could like
Uh,
wear that and it was
I
just so
was
perfect.
so excited that Intuit Connect landed on Halloween because I was just like, oh yeah, totally. Pinata. I've wanted to wear a pinata costume to a conference my whole life. I just never had a good excuse for it.
I mean, Halloween is a great excuse or anything. If you live in Vegas, there's always a pub crawl, so there's always a reason to have a costume. Even if you don't drink, you just show up and wear a costume. So that's one of
It's
the
totally true. And as a matter of fact, I always make my friends laugh when I'm like packing for a conference and I'm like grabbing, like for Bridging the Gap last year, I had this amazing space girl suit with a purple wig. And then there was another conference it was just like bling left and right and a feather boa and sequins. And my friends are like, oh, wow, that's so cool. So you're going on vacation to Vegas? I'm like, no, I'm going to an accounting conference.
trying
That's
to
just how
stuff
I
your soul.
pack.
You're all,
Yes.
I need another tutu.
Tool takes up a lot of room. It's really tough.
Okay.
If you put it in the plastic bag and get all the air out of it, that's the trick
Gotta
with the
air
tool.
seal it for sure.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if you
yeah,
have air sealers, you got to get those ones because that's the
totally.
only. So if you're a CPA. Your whole your I should have this right at the top of my head, but one of you have like a helping one another kind of group, and your whole
Oh, the
thing
Ask a
is
CPA group. Ask a CPA.
there you go.
Yes,
That's the one. And then
that's
you're
the
really
one.
big on helping bookkeepers understand tax, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. Ask a CPA is a membership community that is designed for bookkeepers who have questions that they would like to ask tax preparers, but for whatever reason, they can't. And it's kind of amazing how many reasons there are. Sometimes they're treated condescendingly. Sometimes there's just no response. Sometimes they just don't want to like damage their own credibility. So they want to make sure they figure it out themselves, right? And sometimes they actually are concerned that the tax pro maybe isn't doing a good job and they want to be able to go to the client and say, here's what I'm concerned about for you. So for whatever reason, they can't ask their own clients tax preparers. So they come to ask a CPA and they submit all of their questions in a circle community, and then I answer them all there, and then I take the ones that I think are of general interest, and we meet twice a month, and it's just been an amazing experience.
That's really cool. I love that you've built that. I am in a few groups and I do notice that when bookkeepers ask questions, people are like, you shouldn't even be doing books. I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh,
It's so common. It's so common. And tax preparers they'll complain about bookkeepers and they'll say, oh, they don't know how to do anything, but they will rarely take the time to educate the bookkeepers. They just, it's like they would prefer to complain about it. And since I started as a bookkeeper and later got my master's and my CPA, I feel like I've seen it from both sides and I understand the frustrations that the tax pros have. I get it, but there's a solution. I mean, this is a solvable problem. We don't need to just have this giant chasm between us. We can really bridge that gap and figure out how to get tax pros and bookkeepers to collaborate with each other, not just for their own benefits, but ultimately to help their shared client.
I love that. It's crazy how education and communication can solve almost every single problem
It's
that we have. If
absolutely
we
true.
can educate ourselves and communicate about it, we can solve almost anything.
Almost
But
anything. It's
the
absolutely
education
true. When I started this, people started coming out of the woodwork being like, oh my God, I've wanted something like this my whole life. How come this is the first time that this has ever happened? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, why hasn't this existed? I'm really not clear on that. I mean, like the National Association of Tax Professionals does really, really great education for uh, folks, whether they're CPAs or non-credentialed preparers. And as a bookkeeper, you could attend their conferences and take their classes, but it's really geared toward tax preparation, right? Like there's really not much out there that is for bookkeepers to learn how to prepare tax ready books. But when a bookkeeper can take the time to learn how to prepare tax ready books, document everything, have their work papers, their source documentation, their reconciliations of not only banks and credit cards, but making sure that the payroll matches the W-2, W-3, making sure that their S Corp clients are taking reasonable compensation, that kind of thing. They can hand it off to the tax pro in a form where the tax professional has now just saved potentially 4 or 5 more hours of time during tax season, which is the busiest time of year, the time when they don't have time sitting around to just clean up some books and figure out these messes. So it literally helps everyone. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner.
it's a beneficial thing for a couple reasons. Even though we're slightly getting off track, I still want to finish this topic here, because then the bookkeeper they're educated, so then the tax preparer is happy because they don't want to do books,
Yes,
they don't want to do them, they don't want
absolutely.
to.
Yes.
Now they love the bookkeeper, so they'll be happily refer people to you because they want your clients to come to
Yes,
them. So when people come, oh, you here, and your client just saved money, so you're a value add to your client because
absolutely.
your tax preparer is like, hey, I'm reducing you, which doesn't happen, but if they did, I just want you to
No,
know
they
they're a
do.
great name.
That actually happens. That actually happens because there's the price that you're paying for the tax return to be prepared. And then there's all of the stuff that is
Yeah.
surrounding the tax return. You need the books to be correct in order to
Yeah.
get an accurate tax return. And you need the books to be correct in order to be able to do advisory work and tax planning that benefits the client. And if the books aren't correct, well, then the rest of that stuff, it's not going to be right either. So I really, it is something that, I mean, you want to talk about a legacy. There's the actual work that I did in building my firm for the past 24 years. But then there's my blog, my MSN column, and this Ask a CPA project, and our upcoming podcast on women in accounting. Like your legacy can it can happen in a lot of different ways. It's not just something that, you think it's just your company. You think it's that brand. And then you realize how many lives you can touch with these corollary projects. And then those corollary projects grow into something that is really what you're most proud of. So,
I love that because it just sounds like you've defined your why, which I talked about with Matt Fulton. And that's so important to me. Like why, like before you even start a business, aside from I need a paycheck, I gotta pay my bills. Well, go work
right?
for someone then and go home. Define your why and build your business around your why, which then leads into
Absolutely.
your, if you have your why, then you know it should easily go into your legacy. So with that being said, you have built your business around like reflecting who you are. You are known as the dancing accountant, whether or not you're dancing when you're doing books or you're just the accountant that dances, that's what you're known as. So how did you decide to bring your personal passions into your brand?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really decide to do it, and this will probably ring true for you. I have the kind of personality that can't really be hidden. I have a big personality.
I
You
reflect
may
that comment.
you may yes, that may feel familiar. I've run my CPA firm for, as I mentioned, almost 24 years. But I only changed the name to the Dancing Accountant 12 years ago. So half of the time that I've run the firm. And it was actually a name given to me by a client at a local event. I was in full 60s go-go costume. So think, the tall white boots and the mini skirt and Nancy Sinatra kind of stuff. Um, and this local park is a pro bono client of mine. And we were doing an event where we were teaching kids how to go dance. And a client was picnicking there with her kids for the event. And she said when I walked up, and I was a little nervous, right? I'm wearing this silly costume to go back to my love of wearing costumes, uh, any opportunity that I get. And she said, "Look, kids, it's the dancing accountant."
You're all,
I know, right?
hey.
Like, how could you not adopt the persona as your brand at that point? And
And
so
then
it's
iPhone
turned out to be very effective at attracting the kind of people I want to know and actually like repelling those who are not a good fit.
and then iPhone went and made the emoji after you, the dancing lady.
Yes,
Every time I see
I
that
love
emoji, I'm
that
like,
one.
oh, it's Nancy. Nancy's the dancing emoji on my phone. So
Oh,
so I love that. 12 years in, and sometimes we don't realize that we have a brand or a legacy or anything. Some of us really get in and just like, I have to pay the bills. And then they're like,
yeah,
oh crap,
right.
I've had a company and I've got employees. So
Well, and to be
a lot,
fair, I had a mission before I had a brand. The mission, and that was kind of part of how the brand came about, was that our mission was to provide affordable accounting, tax, and bookkeeping services to the small business owners in our neighborhood. We have a hyper local firm, even though we're 100% remote and our team is all across the United States. Our clients are in the neighborhood in Chicago that we live in. Like these are the shops where we buy things. These are the restaurants and bars where we hang out. These are the people we call for professional services, right? And so because of that, like the mission of providing affordable quality accounting services for these businesses so that they can carry out their mission of keeping our neighborhood vibrant, keeping our community weird and fun and cool. And if they don't have somebody taking care of the books side, the tax side, right? Like the chains are going to move in and the fabric of our neighborhood is going to change. So we already had that mission for a long time before the brand came about. And I think that that's why you ended up with somebody like me showing up in costume at a pro bono park with another client of mine sitting there with her kids. And like that couldn't have happened in the first place if we hadn't had a why for our business, and then the brand
yeah.
very naturally grew out of the personality that made that kind of event, that kind of opportunity happen.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because what you're doing does actually build a legacy, right? Because one day you retire, somebody will always say, "Oh my God, do you guys remember when the dancing accountant was around?" Like you're not just you actually on top of what you do, your skill set, your personality, and who you are is actually impacting people in a positive way. And I don't think that a lot of business owners realize that we are more, especially accounting professionals, we're more than just the books, honey. Be, you
Well, the
know.
thing is that I mean, a lot of people talk about like being afraid that AI is going to replace us, and I'm like, bring it on. I want AI to replace all of the drudgery that I have to do.
Yes.
Leave the personal relationships to me. I got this, right? Because that's what accounting really is. In my opinion, bookkeeping, accounting, tax advisory, all of these different, different angles to the financial professions. These things are personal relationships. They are based on trust. They're based on having a familiarity with your client and their goals and their why. To go back to what you were saying you talked about with Spot, like it's a it's absolutely necessary that we bring our personalities to this work. And I think that people at some point, and I had this myself for a long time, we confuse professional with having no personality, and those are not the same thing. You can have a very big, vibrant personality and be professional at the same time. Are you really good at what you do, and can you communicate with your clients and your team members about those things? Well, great. You are professional. You are also loud. You are also colorful. You are also vibrant. You are also, I mean, 3 years ago, we had a 21st anniversary party for the dancing accountant in our neighborhood, and it was co-hosted by our Chamber of Commerce. It was open to the public. We had tons of different clients like donating beer and prosecco and kids drinks and food and a band that is one of our clients played at it and it was absolutely wonderful. Like, it was a true coming together of our community. And you look like, well, what what brought this together? Really, your accountant brought this together, and it's because we all have the same goals of investing in the community in which we live.
Yeah, and and it is true. AI is here. It's not even coming. It is here. Technology
It's
is
here.
here. It's just whether or not we're utilizing it. And so the only thing that I feel AI cannot replace is that actual human contact, that relationship, that
Yeah.
the lasting impression you have on people. Because how many clients do you get? Like, I get clients that'll be like, look, I've been going to my mom's best friend to do my taxes 4 years. She's getting old. She's probably gonna retire soon. I have to keep the taxes with her until she retires because it would break her heart if I left. But I'm going to
Yeah.
bring everything else over to you. That isn't because she's good at what she does. It's because of her.
That's a
And
great
that
example.
and I tell them I
Yeah.
support tell
Yeah.
me, why don't you intro me to them? I want to make sure they don't feel like we're stepping on their toes. I want to make sure they
Yep.
have access. Like, let's bring them into our ecosystem so when it comes time, we can
Totally.
work. I don't want it. We are on the same team here. And
Yes.
relationship's so important, and that is what builds the legacies we built are, to me, not necessarily the stuff we did, but how we made people feel,
I was
because you don't
going to
forget.
quote that back to you. Oh my God. I was totally going to give that same because that's how it is in public speaking, right? Like, people don't always remember the specifics of what you talked about, but they will remember how you made them feel. And I couldn't agree more that that applies so much in this particular situation. And something else you said, you talked about acting as a team with this other tax preparer. That is something that with Ask a CPA we talk about a ton because we're trying to take what I would like to do is to take a three-pronged approach to improving this relationship between bookkeepers and tax pros. Not just convincing the tax pros that they actually are going to be better off by collaborating with the bookkeepers, and not just by teaching the bookkeepers about what they need to learn to prepare tax ready books, but to teach the small business owners, the clients who actually own these companies that we're taking care of, that they can actually set the tone. They can come in and say, look, our culture, our expectation is that y'all will work together as a team, the bookkeeper and the tax pro. And that's, whether this is internally at a company or these are like two separate places. Our expectation as the small business owner is that you'll work together as a team. And so I was delighted to hear you give that exact example of this, like, you want to make sure you're not stepping on toes. You want to make sure you got technology in place, all of these different things that you can do to improve the workflow and the communication. I'm endlessly delighted to hear you give that as an example.
It's just all relationships. I mean, I have clients that have followed me from 4 companies now, right? And team
Yeah,
members. And I ask them, why do you follow me? They're like, I trust you. I'm
I
like,
trust you.
that's the best compliment I could ever get
It is.
because your business has grown, or maybe it hasn't grown. Maybe it stayed the same and they're happy, but
Yeah,
they trust and they know they can come to me and they know we're going to solve it and they know they feel safe with us. And that's a lot of people stay for that one reason. And we have
yeah.
a couple, like, we're full service. I think you are too.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
but we have clients that have their CPAs, and
Right.
we've had clients come over. They're like, I've been to two other places and they won't work with an outside CPA. I go, that should be kind of a little bit of a red flag for you. I'd kind of be
Yeah.
wondering they won't. For us, it's more of a is your CP like when the CPAs give me this huge checklist, I'm like, okay, hold on. Client, because I'm not doing all this work for you, which is already there. Here's
Right.
everything. I have to charge the client to do all this work, but aside from that, no, here, what do you want? But yeah, no, it's yeah, I agree. I can't remember where I was going with that thought, but that's okay. So have you ever you've got a lot going on and they're all awesome things. And a lot is I love the community thing. That is so cool. I'm
Thank
actually
you.
jealous, but in a jealous in a happy way. Like I would love that. Like that would be so
Well,
cool to
you
be
should
able to
come
have
do a guest stint with us at some
oh,
point. That would be
that
awesome.
sounds
We'd love to have
awesome.
you.
I'm like, that would be so fun. But have you ever felt like the work you were doing wasn't aligned with your bigger vision?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I, it's to some extent actually why I shifted to education. In my Ask a CPA community and at conferences and in webinars, as well as the upcoming podcast for women in accounting with Question Telka, that we were talking about earlier.
That's who it's
When, yeah,
I didn't even hear you say that. I love her. I didn't even, I, for some
I love
reason,
her too.
oh,
Yes.
okay.
So, in all of those things, the I think the motivation behind them was that when I started to feel like I had grown to a point where I was no longer doing much one-on-one work with clients, and
Mm-hmm.
instead I was managing a team. And when that shift happens, and I know a lot of folks, and you've said this yourself, you want to work on the business, not in the business. I wanted to work in the business. Like I loved doing the client education. I love meeting with clients. I love solving their problems. I love brainstorming with my team to figure out the best way to do that. But operations and scheduling, deliverables, like it starts to feel like I'm a few levels away from the work that brings me fulfillment.
Got you.
And it always has felt that the work that I do with clients, it's a form of teaching. My undergraduate degree is in music education. So yep, I would teach. I went to the University of Michigan, studied music education, and my plan had been to teach music theory. And the first job that I got while I was working on that degree was part of the time I was teaching music theory, and the other part of the time I was the office manager for the School for the Performing Arts in Ann Arbor. And I found that there were a lot of good music theory teachers, but somebody who could like communicate with these creatives who were running this school in a way that made sense to them while also making sure that there was integrity in their books, and that they could actually realize their mission. Like that was something I just immediately I basically switched to accounting at that point. Still got my music degree, obviously, and went back to school later on and got a master's of accounting and financial management. So teaching has really
And
always been my jam.
yeah. Well, that's awesome.
And
I was just
yeah, so I wanted to find a way to get back to that. Seeing the impact also of my writing and my webinars. I have a column with MSN, and an award-winning blog, and I do all of this stuff like along with the encouragement of colleagues and other folks who like wanted to learn from me. Like it helped me see possibilities that I wouldn't have been able to envision on my own. So like to your specific question about like the work not being aligned with the bigger vision, um, I was no longer teaching. And, I don't know if becomes a problem for you at all when you're working. I mean, I think you're gifted with operations and scheduling and deliverables and strategic planning, and I'm not gifted with that. That's not where I am.
yeah. I do. I think I love when my team goes because I don't work in the business at all.
Right.
But I forget how much I miss it. So when my
Yeah.
team comes to me and they're like, "Hey, can you help?" I'm like, "I sure can," and I love and showing them things. And I remember I did this cleanup project in January and I was having so much fun. I'm like, oh, I was such a good financial controller and fractional. I mean, I do more fractional CFO work now, But I do I'm sorry, I'm talking about more my accounting firm. I'm more, I work on it, but I do very high level advisory with some of my clients. Other than that,
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
I'm not in it. But I
Yeah.
I miss it 'cause
You
I'm
miss
really good
it,
at it.
right? You miss
So
it. Yeah. For me, it was especially those teaching moments with clients. I just no longer had as many opportunities. I still do sometimes, but yeah. And so when I saw these opportunities, I was just like, okay, because we keep talking about your why, like
yeah.
that it I think that whether you're defining the ideal client profile, that has to go back to your why and your goals, whether you're deciding what your next step is going to be, whether you're deciding what services you're going to offer, or even what kind of people you're bringing onto your team. It always has to go back to bringing purpose into your daily business.
I agree. I was just going to ask you, what's one thing that a business owner could do like right now to make their business more aligned with their values? So kind of leads
You
almost
know,
into that.
it's it's a little bit hard for me to answer because I'm coming from such an amazing experience because we have a hyper local firm. All of our clients are deeply devoted to making a difference in our community by bringing their unique vision and their personality to like their little corner of the neighborhood. Um, our job is to make sure that they have the financial and organizational underpinnings to make that vision that they have a reality. And so I would say if I look back, I don't think at the time when I was looking forward, I did this, but when I look back, I realize this happened organically. Do you know what your values are? Have you asked yourself that question? Do you know who your ideal client or customer is? Have you talked to them? Have you asked them questions and listened to their responses? That that wonderful quote about being the change that you wish to see in the world. Do you know what that change is? Right? Have you defined what that is? Once we identified our ideal client profile, we graded all of our clients. And this was an exercise we did a few years ago. And over the course of those 3 years, we started rehoming them one by one. And we're going to do another round after this tax season, rehoming them because
Right
this is something
now,
that my colleagues think I'm nuts on this one, but, and maybe you will
I
too, but
got
hear me out.
three right now that I cannot rehome fast enough. They asked to stay in this foster care for 30 more days, and I'm like, you sons of you, you're out after this. I'm going to start telling them you're rehomed. I say offboarding, but I'm going to start. I love that
Well, here's
rehoming.
why I call it rehoming instead of offboarding is that we actually try to help them find their firm, their next firm, a firm that fits their needs best.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of places out there
Oh
who
yeah.
are better suited to doing some of the work that, for example, super large partnerships is not my thing. I don't enjoy it. And finding an organization who's like, oh my gosh, that's our bread and butter. I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm gonna and then the client is better served. And so like if I can, I know what the client's needs are better than the client does. And I know who my colleagues are. I've been doing this 24 years. I've met a few people. I run this community. I'm a thought leader, influencer, whatever, I can find people for them. And so we
Yeah.
really do think of it as rehoming. And again, my colleagues think they're like, why are you spending so much non-billable time trying to find like nobody else does that. Nobody like finds the next place. I'm like, because this was mission driven to begin with, right? Like
Yeah.
that what is mission driven if you're like, oh, get out of here. I don't care about you anymore. So, I mean, it serves everyone better, including them, if they're in a firm that best fits their needs. But I think that if you're going to do that, yes, there are the PETA clients, but there's also like anybody who doesn't our current ideal client profile. S corps are one of the things, and that's not like a mission driven thing. That's just like I really love S corps. Reasonable compensation is something I am really really good at, and I teach, and so that's one of the things I want to make sure we're bringing to our clients. And so I know I can give better value if I'm working with S corps. So your ideal client profile, yes. It's things like they're nice, they're kind, they're fun. For us, are they hyper local? For us, are they mission driven? There are all sorts of things that are on that. Are they comfortable with the technology we use? Do they insist on using, ADP instead of Gusto? Like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested because this is what I've set up in order for us to be really efficient about what
Efficient.
we deliver. hmm
Yeah.
Because it helps us
I
serve them better.
I agree. And a lot of people build the business around like you got to build the business around your what you do. That's why I tell people build your tech stack and then bring in your clients because you're
Right.
advising your clients. And most like
Absolutely.
some of the clients that we're rehoming, it's not even a skill set thing, it's a personality where that whole
Yeah.
relationship thing comes through. We have a client that just does not pay attention to anything. Like we can send it 5 times, everything, and they will text me late at night and go, "Why did this get done?" I'm like, and finally I get to the point I'm like, okay, so we're gonna find you
Mhm.
someone else that has a firm that the only way they communicate is via text with their clients because it ain't us.
Yeah.
Because that is not efficient for us to send you like this is our portal. This is, and we have another one who just flies off the handle all the time. And I said, that is it.
Oh,
Can't, no,
that
like
is one thing that we're very, very strict about. So one of the rules that we have in our firm is that when we have, so again, it's a fully remote firm. Everybody's US based. It started, we were all in Chicago, but like one by one, as people wanted to move away and do something different, I was like, why am I losing these people just because they're moving to another state? They don't even meet with clients. I'm the only one who meets with clients. And so we were remote way, 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 way before the pandemic happened. And it's kind of funny because like here we have this fully remote team and yet a hyper local firm.
I
Um,
was that's what I asked about. I'm like, wait a second, you guys are remote, right? So, but
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
I started mine too, so I get
yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so I don't remember where I was going with that, but I'm sure it was fascinating.
It was remote and people
Before
all
I mentioned
over.
remote. Oh, I know what it is. I'm so glad I didn't forget this because this is really fantastic. So we have quarterly happy hours. They're paid happy hours,
Your
and
client,
everybody.
your client. That's what it was.
What?
Sorry.
Yes,
Your
exactly. So exactly. So we have these paid happy hours once a quarter, and everybody fills out a little survey. Some of the questions are work related, most of them are personal. The I send everybody a cocktail kit and everybody like does the DIY cocktails at home. I send them snack packs. It's a lot of fun. We really enjoy them. And the one that we do after tax season has an extra layer to it, which is each of the people is allowed to vote, not just allowed, like asked to vote on who your least favorite client is. And
oh,
we allow them to vote a client off the island.
oh, amazing.
Yeah. And there,
Hopefully no clients
there was
watch this,
somebody
and if they are, hopefully their goal is to not be that client
to not be
because
that client that gets voted off the island. Well, this past year was amazing because we didn't vote anybody off the island because there was nobody that anybody on our team didn't want to work with. Because we had been doing that like for enough years and like gotten rid of enough not ideal clients that everybody was really happy with the people who were their clients, that they like own that relationship. And so when people would, act when a client would, you said fly off the handle, anybody does anything like that with our team, like they get an email from me that's just like,
yeah,
we need to have a meeting because
oh yeah.
this is not okay. I hope it's not okay in your business either. It is definitely not okay for you to treat my team like that. We don't treat each other like that. We don't treat you like that. And that is a sure way to get voted off the island.
I tell them, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't care if you're the president of the United States, you do not talk to people like that. No, I fire people, I fire them for less because I'm like, life's too short. And when I just hear the same client's name over and over and not in
Yeah.
a positive way, the first thing I do is look, maybe there's some miseducation.
hmm
Maybe
hmm
maybe they were not onboarded correctly. And so they have expectations that we cannot meet, right? So
Totally.
I always have
So,
that one call, let's align, let's rescope, let's check it out. Okay, great. We're aligned, we're good. All right, so this should never happen. It happens again. Nope, it's you.
Out. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not me, it's you.
It's not me, it's
Sorry.
you.
Sorry. I mean, that's why I told many people when I was single, not me, it's you. I'm not I am breaking up with you because it's you. It ain't me. I'm awesome.
Oh my God, I love
I
you.
did, I've done that a few times. If they're watching, now you know, you know.
Yeah, now you know. It was you.
But then also I don't want to have get back to legacy. I don't want to have a legacy of I started my firm originally taking on those clients. It was just me.
Mm.
And my dad was in construction. I'm a strong-willed woman. I can handle anything. You can't hurt my
I've
feelings.
noticed.
So I started my company. Everybody's giving me the clients they got off the island. I'm like, give them to me. And I'd shape them up and I'd handle it. And they'd
Yeah.
call me and I've hung up on so many of them. Like, have you hung up? I'm like, yeah, you're not talking to me like that. Call me back when you
Oh,
talk to me.
wow.
Good person. Do you talk to your mother like that? Yeah. Oh, I need to call your mother next. Anyhow, and then when I started getting team members or when I started hiring people, I let those clients go because
Right.
I didn't mind. In fact, I loved it because then I had no drama and I was so happy in life because I got to be mean to them when they were mean to me
Right.
first. Perfect. But then I realized that was great. But then as we get going, I'm like, I don't want people quitting my company because Sharrin is known for letting her clients walk all over her team.
Right.
Sharrin is known for having mean clients. That's not the legacy I
That's not a,
want,
yeah,
right?
that's great. I love that you brought that back around to legacy because that's a great example of all of the different things that legacy can mean.
Absolutely. It's when I retire and I stop doing this or my clients leave, what am I leaving behind? What are they remembering? How am I leaving it? And if we do nothing in life, I mean, we're all in the end, we're all going to eventually be forgotten, right? Unless we're like Rosa Parks and we did something
Right.
extraordinary. But
Great
Sharrin
example.
and her syllable, scalable, and Nancy and her dancing account, we're gonna leave, pieces. But eventually we're not. But during the time, I want to leave something positive. And
Yeah.
even if it's related to my work, I don't care. It's just as long as there's something positive in what I do,
Well, I think
right?
that we don't, yes, I agree with you completely. And I think that we get so caught up in the day to day that we don't think about long-term impact most of the time. Like maybe when we first dream up the idea of our business. So I think your point about legacy is that we really we really need to consider what we want to be known for, what we want it to be, and then like try to evaluate each day. What are we doing each day, each week, each month against that larger mission or goal? And I'm the first to admit it myself. I get lost in the endless to-do lists and I forget about like Valerie Heckman's to-do list. What have I accomplished? What meaning have I brought to other people's lives? And sometimes that's all of the work that I've done to keep these clients in compliance. And sometimes that's making sure that people feel respected and cared for and that they know that the trust that they placed in you was well placed. Right? So legacy can mean a lot of different things, I think is the point that I'm
It
trying to make there. Yeah.
Absolutely. To me, it's always just what I leave behind. What I leave
Yeah.
behind, whether it's what I leave behind when I left a room, what I leave behind in my business, what am I leaving when I leave wherever I'm at, what did I leave? How did I make people feel? Right? Like
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Do you do when you talk about leaving something behind, do you do the to-do list that Valerie talked about?
you're talking
You have
about, I
no
just really
idea. Okay, so at Scaling New Heights, she so Valerie Heckman's with OnPay and she did like a big presentation about like encouraging your natural enthusiasm. And one of the suggestions that she made was making a not just a to-do list. You got your to-do list of all things I have to do, but a to-do list where you reflect on what you accomplished and why it mattered and to make a practice of celebrating the little things as well as the big things. So if you can take a look at what you do well and what you enjoy and where you found success, and how then can you reshape your business to do more of that? And I would say when you talk about leaving a legacy, that is something that you can do to get you on the right path. Like if you can point to specific successes, you can sometimes better understand how your values played a role in getting there.
I love that. That kind of almost kind of ties into my last question I had for you, but you may want to elaborate on it. So, if someone listening wants to make a one small change today that'll help them build a business with meaning, what should they do?
Go out to dinner with your best friend. Ask them to tell you why they think you're doing what you're doing. Then go do that.
Wow. I'm wow. I like that. I like that. I
Right.
mean, if it's your best friend, they only want the best from you and they only see you in the most positive light, right? And they see things that you don't. So that's really cool. I'm gonna ask
And
mine. I'm excited.
they're also going to be honest with you.
Oh
They're
yeah.
also going to be honest with you. So it's that combination. Yeah, ask them to tell you why they think you're doing what you're doing. And then if that's not what you're doing, you realign. Go do it.
That's really cool. That's some really good advice. That's actually, you know why I love that? Because I love to give good advice, but that's not advice that I would ever think to give, and I love it. So I love when I remember I told you when so before Nancy came on, you said, "Sharon, what's the goal in this?" I'm like, one thing, just one. I need whoever's listening, somebody to come up with one thing. And the past few podcasts I've recorded, I've left with one thing, and I've been like, well, don't care if no one else got something. I'm really happy with this. So my one thing, I mean, I got more, of course, but that was actually really good. I
Yeah.
really love that. And that's
Yeah.
deep on
And
some
I want you
level.
to shoot me a text once you do this or an email or
I
something like
will.
that and be like, I did it. I actually did it. And here's what they said. And I I get so much out of that kind of conversation. And part of that is that when you're thinking about it in terms of legacy, um, you want to be your best self, right? You
Yeah,
want to be the best version of yourself that you can be, but you got to know who you are in order to do that.
absolutely. I agree. Well, Nancy, where can people connect with you and learn more about the dancing accountant?
Well, this one's going to feel pretty obvious. It's thedancingaccountant.com. But once you get to thedancingaccountant.com, there are a couple of tabs in particular that I want to mention. One of them is Ask a CPA. If you are interested in joining our membership community, it's $47 a month. I tried really, really, really hard to make it as affordable as possible because I don't want there to be barriers to bookkeepers who want to learn about how to up their game with bookkeeping and learn how to prepare tax-ready books. So if you're interested in Ask a CPA or you are a tax pro who knows a bookkeeper who you think needs to go to Ask a CPA, please check that out. It lists all of the things that you get for your membership. And, we've got about 115 people in there right now. We'll probably be at about 250 by the end of the year. And I'm super proud of what we've built. We just launched last July. So this is like,
Wow,
this is, yeah,
super,
it's been
that's
wonderful.
awesome.
It's been really wonderful. And then while you're on the dancingaccountant.com, I think it's the last tab. The last tab might be about dancing, to be honest, but I think it's the second to last tab is the contact info. And if you go to that, it gives you all of the different socials. I'm most active on LinkedIn. So please follow me there, connect with me there. Don't just follow me. I'd love to know who you are. And also my MSN column is there, and you can click on that and then click the little plus for follow, and you'll get a little notification every time that I share my pearls of wisdom about this, that, or the other. For example, I have an upcoming article that's going to be coming out on the best accounting conferences of the year, including Women Who Count, which I know you are the chair of. Yeah.
When this airs, it will had already passed, but
Oh,
I'll be outgoing
all
chair for 26, so I'll still be a part of it.
right.
It's definitely something I love, really excited, but
I
yes,
love the
love
fact
that.
that we're recording this during tax season 2025 and you're so together that you've got all of these that you're recording and you're going to
I
be
told you,
releasing it like after Women Who Count is has already happened, which isn't
People
until
don't
this
listen when I tell them I'm
October.
crazy. Yeah, I
You
tell people
are, no, I listen to you. I thoroughly believe that you are a crazy person, Sharrin. I absolutely believe you.
I tell people they think I'm joking. I'm like, I'm telling you, and I was just on a call with someone and I said, she goes, you're so organized and processed. And I said, yes, I have an unattainable level of organization and
Yes.
process that honestly nobody can, but that's just me and I know it though. I'm not crazy. I don't
As a
know.
matter of fact, just yesterday on LinkedIn, I posted about how the perfect is the enemy of the good because that kind of thing, it's just like, hey, doesn't it sound fun to have like an endless project? That does not sound great. And you're the craziest of us all.
I am, and I love it.
You
It's the
really are.
problem. I like
Yeah.
it's so bad. It's so bad.
Well,
That's
I just
another
want to
day.
make sure that your audience knows that if you are a bookkeeper, you should go join Ask a CPA. If you are a woman in accounting, keep an ear out for our upcoming podcast, She Counts. And to hear more from me, follow my column on MSN. And I really, truly look forward to interacting with you, one human to another, because as we started out this whole conversation, the future of accounting is really based on personal relationships, and I love having them.
Amazing. I love that. Well, that is going to be a wrap on today's episode of From Stuck to Scaling, the $1 million journey. And of course, a huge thanks to Nancy for sharing how she built a business that's more than just numbers, it's a legacy. And again, if you want to connect with Nancy, it's thedancingaccountant.com. I'm also going to link all of her stuff in the chat so you don't have to go Googling for it, it'll be in there. Next month, we're going to be talking with Jackie Meyer, and it is going to be about life after scaling. Jackie, like myself, has also sold her firm in pieces and started something else. So we're going to have that discussion. So if you're wondering what happens after you scale or after you sell, then you don't want to miss this. And don't forget, we have a killer handout with every episode. This one is the legacy building blueprint, creating a business that lasts. And it's really going to help you define your legacy, align you with your values, and really kind of understand your why, which is super important. And just remember, sometimes you have to scale down to scale up. Success is not about working harder. It is about working smarter. See you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.